Hi, hello, our audience. You're so welcome back to our YouTube channel, which is Lead Yourself Consult Africa, or maybe we can call it Lead Yourself Conversations. What do you
Exactly.
think? Yes, Lead Yourself Conversations. So we are going to start with the self introduction and then a few questions that some of you asked us, and then we're going to see it from there. So I will start with my personal introduction. I am Lenah Wanjiko Moirore. I like to call myself a youth development advocate. This is because I like to also be at the forefront of ensuring that young people are getting into rooms where they have opportunities, and that involves having the right information and being involved with the right conversations. So, with all that, we found ourselves working together to start Lead Yourself Consult Africa, where it's all about conversations about growth, entrepreneurship, and just how you can maneuver different circumstances in life. So, how we started to work together with my dad, it was effortless. It was not something that we sat together and planned on doing. It was something that came naturally because I saw him as someone who has so much information to offer, and there's no one else that I would want to be involved with my business as he is. So he's my mentor. He has been my long-term friend for a long time. So as usual, as when you start a business and you have a conversation with your friend, so this is something that we just effortlessly started involving each other into. So when we have topics that we need to present to other people when we are hosting networking forums, I invite him to be the guest speaker because I believe in the knowledge that he has. I have seen it practically as well. And that is definitely the best part, seeing something happen practically. So you're sure when someone is giving the information, you're sure it is the right information. Okay, so that is it for me and my introduction. I will hand it over to Dr. Andrew to do the introduction.
Maybe it would be good for you to tell our audience your educational background. What have you achieved so far as a youth advocate to gain the moral authority to speak about youth matters?
Okay, so I think I will start with the most exciting one. But for my educational background, I have a BA, that's a bachelor's in community development, that is socially, community work. I am very good at that. And for the achievements, the most exciting one is the one from last year in October. I have a recognition from Thabo Mbeki Foundation in South Africa. That's a former president in South Africa. This is someone who's recognized the work that we are doing with the youth in networking, helping the youth move from places so that they can have an open mind and see the different perspectives of the youth within Africa. So I think that's the most exciting one that I've had so far. I've also been awarded last year as well, 2025. It was a big one. I got the Founder of the Year award. First runners up, not second. I was second position, so that's first runners up. Founders of the Year award. That's FOYA Awards 2025. Those are some of the ones that I can mention for last year, and it's just been a beautiful journey. The recognition just comes from being in the right place at the right time, like just ensuring that the opportunities are coming towards me. Yes, thank you.
So I think that bit is quite important for our audience to get to understand who we are. For me, I'm Dr. Andrew Moirore Guuru. On my path educational, I have a BA. Maybe I start with a doctorate. I have a doctorate in leadership. I have masters in development studies. I have advanced diploma in psychology, a diploma in HIV and AIDS, and also a bachelor degree in BA sociology, Kenyatta University. I have several achievements which I will speak about later on. But like Rena said, it is important for us to talk about our achievements, our educational background, so that as we sit here, people will get to understand where we came from and to inspire other people who are in school to be able to understand knowledge is power. Sharing it is empowerment. We actually named our entity as Lead Yourself Consult Africa because we always say there is no way you'll be a leader to other people if you cannot lead yourself. Leadership starts with yourself. And so you have to develop a character that is appealing to other people to want to be led by you. even in your personal life. If there are things that you are not able to do because you lack leadership skills, you lack that knowledge to address issues that affect you, you lose the moral authority to speak to other people. And so you have to start by being your own leader before you can lead anybody else. And that's how everything started. Then I talked about where our journey started. I would want to talk about where things needed to start. As a parent, I've always wanted to be a role model to my family. Most of the time, we are looking outwardly instead of looking inwardly. I need to start inward, being a role model to my family. Before I can be a role model to anybody else outside my family, I have to be a role model first to my own family. And therefore, growing up, I could see my family as key in everything that I wanted to do. And therefore, I would make sure that in everything I did, their presence was felt. When Lena was in school, she actually developed an interest in community development based on how he could see me enjoying my work as a community developer. He would even ask me to join me in the field to get to understand how things are in the field compared to what they learn in school. And fortunately for her, when she went to the field, she was amazed that it was a completely different scenario. What they were hearing in class and what she could see in the field was more informative than what she was getting in class. And therefore, the interest to do community work and community engagement started by looking at how I was enjoying my work. Remember, if you are a parent and there is this signal to your family that you don't enjoy your work, there is nobody who will be interested in your type of work. You have to help your family first, see how much you enjoy your work for them to be able to want to be part of you. And that's exactly what I did. By the way, in everything that I do, there is a member of my family in it, be it in business, be it in things like we are doing with Rena. A lot of other things happen with my family as part of them. And that's why I'm saying that before you can be a role model to somebody else outside the family, your family has to first see you as their role model, to be in a position to follow you and to want to associate with you. That's how it started with Rena, because I positioned myself as a role model to her and as a central point of knowledge that she needed growing up. And that's how we found ourselves working together. I was always willing to share information that I had. I was always willing to bring her on board on most of the things that I was doing, whether at home, whether in the field, whether in the workplace. Eventually, she found that the most reliable source of knowledge and information was her dad. And so, for her to join me or for me to want to do things with her was just natural. Nobody asked the other to join in the game. We found ourselves doing things together. And through Read Yourself Consult Africa, we have done a lot. For her to be invited in South Africa as a key speaker and to be awarded that very senior award by Thabo Beki was courtesy of Read Yourself Consult Africa. And so we are talking about all this so that people can start to understand how much we have done together, and we are not yet done. There is a lot that we want to do together, but we decided, why don't we share with the world about the things that we do so that they can also start to understand working together with your family, working together with your son, working together with your daughter is the most fulfilling thing that you can ever achieve on this earth. So welcome. We would want to start by talking about one of the questions that our audience have asked, and they asked about how did we find ourselves together. And like I have explained, we found ourselves together in this journey of Lead Yourself Consult Africa because as the father, I was available for my daughter. First of all, I made sure that she went through the educational process to gain the most important knowledge for her to speak about things that she would want to talk about. She would gain the self confidence that was needed for her to speak in front of people. Like for her to go to South Africa, speak on behalf of hundreds of people, and to be awarded shows that she has one of the highest confidence to even speak to thousands of people. And so I developed her well enough to be able to be part of what I was doing because as a development person, I have traveled a lot. I have an international exposure, which I wanted her also to have. By the way, she has not told you that she also attended an international conference in Dubai on behalf of the youth, and she equally did an amazing job on that. So this journey started because we saw ourselves as a source of information to many people. And therefore, we decided instead of keeping this information just within us, why don't we find a platform where we can share it with our audience so that they can start to understand how things can be done differently? And we want to do this differently. We want our audience to be asking questions so that when we speak, we are specifics about the needs that our audience want to hear. So when they ask questions, we will be talking about what they are asking because you may be asking one question, not knowing that the question you are asking on behalf of thousands of other people. And when we respond to your questions, we are not just responding to you, we are responding to thousands of our viewers and audiences that are looking at Read Yourself Consult Africa and wanting to understand who are these guys, what is it that they are going to offer. So welcome. Maybe Lenah, you can share a little bit about what our viewer asked about. How did this journey start? You had touched a little bit about that, but it's good to.
I like to expound on the part where you said, as we grew up, we could see how you are enjoying your work. I think that is very important for especially children and their minds, especially when you're like teenagers and you're wondering, what can I do with my life? What are some of the things that I'm interested in? You will look at the people around you and you'll start thinking, are they happy? Do they enjoy what they are doing? And when you're involved and you come back home, do you actually have common stories? And I remember we used to talk about such instances and how we had a good time. We used to have memorable things that we did in the community when we went together. And it's just, there are core memories for me up to now. And looking back at it, there are times I used to feel like I was forced to speak in the public spaces to introduce myself. You say which class you're in, which subjects you're most interested in. I remember when you used to tell me to do that. And looking back at it, that has given me so much confidence to be able to speak to people, as you've said. And it's just a very key thing for especially parents to be involving their kids, and to actually show them that life is worthwhile. What I'm doing is not only making money, but it is creating an impact. And so in that whole journey, I grew up in conversations about entrepreneurship, about community work. And I remember I just told myself there is no way I can do anything far from what I have been seeing, and far from what I have grown seeing. There's this like an untold mentality, untold rule where people think that the best success that you can have is in isolation, and you feel like independence. That word independence has so much weight, especially in our generation, where so many people feel like for you to be independent, you have to struggle your way to the top. You have to start something from scratch. You have to really struggle for the networks, for the finances. You can't even ask for help from anyone. You can't hold the right conversations with people, and you just do the whole thing in isolation. And I think that has really pulled back so many people. Like it should have been something that would have like catapulted you to go way further if you actually involved the people around you, like your parents, your guardians. That is one mentality that we should actually really get rid of. It's just like when Jesus and the parable of the master who gave his servants. The first one was given 5 talents, the second one was given 2 talents, and one was given one. Like in this life, we are always going to have something that we have been given in this life. And if it is parents who are giving you guidance and who are showing you the right direction, I think we should highly, highly, highly appreciate the information and actually start from where our parents have left. Let it be like a generational wealth building, like an enterprise where your parents can do, you can actually do, and then your kids might have the interest of doing it at some point, even if not entirely, even if they'll have something on the side, they can still want to be involved in what you're doing in your life. So that has been very key for my life. I appreciate the journey that we've taken together, how you used to push me back then. I see how it is coming up now. And I truly enjoy that we are actually doing this and sharing the information together. I had asked my dad to do a book earlier, but now with the changes and how social media is growing, I think videos are going to really do the work because it's easy for people to engage. The first video we did had over 200 views, had very many people engaging in it, and you ask questions. So we are going to be answering those questions as he's asked. And I'm very, very excited to continue doing this as a second episode. Looking forward to everything that we're going to be doing moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Something else I would want to add to what Lenah has said is about children tapping on the knowledge that is just close to them. There are times that people use a lot of energy going to look for something that it's within them. And that's why I said, how much as parents do we present ourselves as a source of information to our children so that instead of them going outside to look for information that they can get from within the family, normally sometimes it's because we as parents, we do not position ourselves as reliable source of information. We need to make sure that we invest in ourselves in terms of knowledge, not just local knowledge, international. We get as much exposure as we need to, so that when your children comes to you asking for a certain information, you don't struggle to answer. The moment that information comes out so freely, next time they're not going to struggle going outside to look for somebody to help them with a certain information. You'll be the first person they'll come to seek for guidance because they are realizing that you are a central point of information. Before they can go to somebody else, they'll first come to you. So we need to position ourselves as parents to be able to have an influence over the people we read. Remember, we are saying you can never be a reader if you cannot read yourself. And to read yourself is to invest in yourself in as much information, in as much knowledge as possible, so that whoever comes to you, even if it's not 100% of what they needed, they will tap on something that is going to help them to move to the next step. And so that's how I have always been. I have positioned myself as a reliable source of information to not just to Lenah, but to the rest of my family members. Whoever comes to me in terms of a certain information, they are almost sure that there is something that I'm going to offer. And based on that, there will be a natural connection. They're going to cultivate an aspect of respect for one another, friendship. Remember, before you become before Lenah sees me as his dad, he has to first see me as a friend, somebody who is available, somebody who is willing at least to share whatever she needs to hear from me. And that's how our journey has been. It has been very smooth because we understand each other very well. We know when one is struggling. And so we are available, we are friends. And so it becomes very easy for us to even to engage on matters that are even very difficult. So that's where we are. That's how our journey have started, and here we are.
Yeah.
And we are ready to share as much information as people would want to know in terms of youth mentorship. I'm also a consultant on matters of entrepreneurship, like I stated during our first episode. That's an area that I'm willing to share as much information as our audience would want to hear. So, welcome and be set.
I think there is one other comment that had asked something that you've actually touched on. Someone had asked, which values do you think you've cultivated currently in your life that has enabled you to be where you are right now, to be able to work together? And I think you've actually touched much on it, to be friends, to be mentors of each other, be a good role model, have very good information and actual information about certain topics. And I think for me, the one that I can mention is that you should just be teachable. In this journey of growing and learning, I have actually made it very intentional for myself that I will be teachable. As much as I think I know from the past experiences, I want to learn more. I want to unlearn and I want to learn. That is the one for me. I want to remain as teachable as possible throughout my life. Yes.
And I think based on that, thinking next time we will start with a very critical activity that we do with our groups, which helps us to understand in life, nobody is empty. We are all full, and the difference is based on what we have. We'll be talking about 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 10, which clearly tells us each one of us have received a gift from God that we should use to serve others faithfully. And based on that, when I look at Lenah, I don't see her as a child. I see her as somebody who is full in terms of knowledge that I can even also tap on. And when she looks at me, she also sees me as somebody who is full of knowledge that she can touch. So based on that, we need to help our audience understand that the most critical aspect of helping other people to see you as an important source of information is also to see them as people who can also help you grow. Nobody has the monopoly of knowledge. And therefore, even when you work with your children, remember they have something they can offer and make your work even better. That realization makes things better because when you are surrounded by people with different gifts, you get a lot of work being done. So we'll be sharing a lot, and we'll be glad to do an activity that is going to help people understand that nobody within their family, within their community, within their workplace, nobody is empty, regardless of the task or the work they do, in either within the family or regardless of their positions, nobody is empty. We are all full. We all have individual gifts that we can bring on the table to make things even better for each one of us and the rest of the community around us. So thank you.